I know I've got to start the stream sometime, but you know, I won't lie. The more music I hear from Harris Heller, the more I enjoy it. So I'm glad I'll be able to have that playing in the background. This is Harris Heller, everybody, and he produces stream safe music. He has said as long as he and Senpai Records releases music, it will always be considered stream safe. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I got that right. Good afternoon, everybody. You're writing with the Tea Monster. Getting back into the current work in progress, which the working title is Fear City, New York, and this is actually his full on playlist on Spotify. He has, okay, so let me just scroll down. The following albums he has are this, and he started releasing albums here like he is just cranking out music, it looks like. I'm still scrolling down. A lot of albums here. All right. Woo. Okay, here we go. So I finally hit the bottom of the list. You've got High at the Planetarium. That's in High at the Planetarium. Fantasy Arcade. Sakura Dreams. In 4K. That was released in all this is so far. It's all released in 2020. Aquilarium. Certain Shades of Blue. Gold. White. Stage. Renegade. Lone Wolf. Lights. Singju. Royal. Neko. Lifestyle. Inu. Ghost. Ego. Man. And this is actually from his album Densu. And yeah, it's actually quite cool. Shane, how you doing? I actually have I actually did a screen capture for of the tweet, and I plan to talk to him if I can, if I do get greenlit this year for a second edition of Twitch for Dummies, which actually today is its 2-year anniversary. Twitch for Dummies has been out a whopping 2 years now. As of today. Yeah, as of today. What's going on, Kato? Kato.
Did you not hear the thump?
What was the thump?
Sebastian got up on the counter and pushed my tin of tea over.
Oh, wow.
And then he ran away when he saw me coming.
All right. So there's my better half. There's Pip.
Hey.
I know, right, man? Right? Naughty Sebastian is naughty. And a
He's
Sebastian.
A very naughty boy. I bought you.
He's a very naughty boy. Yes, I see.
I'm having a cup of ginger celebration tea.
And I'm just
No,
having.
I'm not. I'm having Paris.
You having what?
I'm having a cup of Paris.
Cup of Paris.
Which smells of blueberries.
Yeah.
Blueberries in Paris.
I would think
I didn't
Paris
remember
would
that.
smell of raspberries. Oh, and a New Zealander wants to drink our tea, and I say,
I think it's,
"Good morning, Calpena." Here,
Oh, and a bicky. Tea
And a bicky. I'm having coffee in a bicky. Good morning. But good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Yes, we're doing a little bit of writing today. I'll be working on Fear City, New York, and Pip will be working on what?
My 18th century Regency fantasy.
And that is under that's the
Working
Wold.
title was called the Wold or
The
the
Wold.
Weald, which is the old English word for forest. Who knows what it'll end up with calling, but it's
So, now I understand. Froy, yes. All of his playlists, EDM, lo-fi. I haven't heard his R&B, but hey, Christina, how are you? Gucci's in there. But yeah, this is all of his stuff on Spotify. And my plan is that if he is still feeling this way when I'm writing the second edition, I want to give him some ink, because I will say this. I was really impressed with Harris Heller's playlist, more so than I was with Twitch Soundtrack. The other thing is, too, I'm not sure what's going on with Twitch Soundtrack, but I've stopped using it. I've just stopped using it outright. I was just having too many issues with it. Do I have any tissues in here, hon? I don't think I do.
probably something in the bathroom.
Oh yeah, it really does. It really does. I mean, I think Twitch Soundtrack is a great idea. Why Amazon Amazon Music hasn't hasn't tried to figure out how to find a happy medium between them and Twitch. I don't know. It seems kind of ridiculous, but it is what it is. Anyway, I have a little bit of coffee on my desk, so be right back. Entertain the masses.
Entertain. So yeah,
Let me entertain you.
Singing or dancing, not really. So, quick update on where I am with my project. I cracked the 40,000 word mark, so I'm about halfway. I've got a lot of. I realized this one I was just trying to enjoy the creative spirit, so I was just letting it go. I was not planning anything. I was just let's write about Regency England with magic in the forest, and so I'm now coming to the sharp end of it where I'm like, so where am I going with this? Like, what is the end point?
Oh wait. They say
Really low?
yeah. Is your mic on?
Flashing?
Oh, hit that.
Now it is solid.
It should be solid. Let me just double check. Yeah, now they can hear you.
Now I can talk. So yeah, I hit the 40 to recap. So I hit the 40,000 word mark. This was just me writing something that I really enjoyed. I wanted to write about Regency England and magic, so I decided I would. Now I'm come to the interesting part where I'm halfway and I have to figure out how to get to the end and what the end is. And I think this isn't a standalone book. I think this is definitely a series. So I have to find some sort of conclusion, but also have some threads that will go on to the next book.
If
whatever.
you hear an echo, by the way, it's mainly because the pickups from that particular mic are so good they pick me up all the way back here.
Oh, okay.
And so
Interesting.
we're working around it.
So yeah, so I've got and then I discovered I got halfway through and I was like, oh shit, I'm writing about Regency England, sort of not Jane Austen, but the vague trappings of Jane Austen society. So I'm like, there is going to be a ball. So now I have a ball happening. So now I have to go back to the beginning and write all the characters looking forward to this event that's coming, and some of them dreading it. So I'm doing a little bit of patchwork on them.
In Pip's argument, she actually started working on this before the Bridgerton push.
Oh yeah. This is I started this middle of last year, I think. But I'm not upset about the Bridgerton thing.
No, that's gonna be ooh.
Because they're saying that's gonna be 9 episodes. There are 9 books, you see, so
9 books, 9 seasons.
So I'm like, have as many seasons as you like, because then when this book gets pitched.
Yeah, but they have to maintain interest over 9 seasons.
Oh, I think they'll at least maintain it for next 2 or 3.
Well, yeah.
So, that gives me plenty of time to pitch to publishers. Hey! Of course, one of the characters is definitely gay. There's some other things going on there that you won't find. Well, Bridgerton, I don't know. They're kind of hinting at some of the characters, which were not in the book. Were definitely not gay. Maybe they are in the series. I don't know. But anyway, so I'm just enjoying writing that and figuring out where the hell I'm going. Oh, and sometimes I write little snippets and put them ahead of myself. And now I've just looked at it and I'm like, oh, there was that snippet that I was going to use. Right, I better get on to that. So, I've kind of come to a bit where I need to think about it, is the sad part of it. There is a kitty up there who wants a treat. Look at that kitty up there who wants a treat. Did you want a treat? He also looks a little...
He looks like he's been caught doing something. What did you do?
Nothing. I just want a treat.
I gave you your gushies.
Did you get catnip as well?
He didn't get any catnip. But he's just...
He looks a little like he got some catnip.
He does. Hey, how you doing there, Dr. Kelly?
Hey! Morning. Afternoon.
So, Spence asks, what kind of magic are you working with? Druidism, witchcraft, sorcery?
Well, okay, so here's the setup. So the setup is that in England and around the world, there are patches of ancient forest that have been there forever. Anybody who tries to bring fire towards them, the fire won't go, so they're protected. And inside, they're sort of like wells of magic. And things come out of the woods. Sometimes there are good things, like fey creatures, brownies. Sometimes there are bad creatures that come out. And each forest has 2 humans. So humans often go into the forest, and most of them disappear and never heard again. Some come out and they're a little bit what they call elf shot, which is touched, or whatever you would call it back in those days. But occasionally the forest accepts humans, and they return and they have magic. And in England they're called the Grand Sorcerer and the Grand Sorceress, and they are basically supposedly guardians of the land. They also cannot travel across water. So right now, England is involved in a war in France with Napoleon, and the people of... That cat has gone crazy, T. You should see that cat. He's got the eyes on. Anyway, so they're having a war with Napoleon. The Grand Sorcerer and the Grand Sorceress can do some stuff, like they can put spells on ships to make them sail faster, or they can do that sort of thing, but they themselves cannot cross over into Europe. Napoleon, of course, has his own counterparts from the French European forest. So it's there are also hedge witches and various sort of other people with more minor talents. So yeah, that's sort of, I guess you would say, folklore. Story. Yeah, folklore magic, I guess I would say. Connected to people and things rather necessarily the magic, but it's still developing, so it could still change. So the story is set around this family of girls. They're like any Jane Austen series of books. It's a family of women, and their father, who is elf shot, something's going on with him. Something happened between him and the forest. He is the protector of the Weald. He's like an earl, and he's in charge of looking after the forest and managing the villages around the edges of the forest.
So right now Spencer's like, you hit me in the good spot. I can't wait to hear more about it. And Christina's like, I love everything about this.
I'm having a lot of fun. So there are the sisters.
Maybe you guys want to see her screen then. Is that it?
No.
I'm not jealous.
So it's got the sisters. I'm really enjoying writing the sisters. One is Theodosia.
And I'm going to say it again. This is why I think you're a better writer.
No.
I do. I've always thought you were a better writer.
Because I'm not writing Regency and history. You wrote.
Yeah, that shit's not easy to write.
Oh, it's fun. Well, I've read a lot.
If I were to try Regency fantasy or Regency anything, it would just be, and everywhere she looked, she saw tight buttocks. That's all I would probably be able to write. I mean, let's be honest.
Well, I've read a lot of Jane Austen.
And that's the other reason.
I've read a lot of period stuff there. Well, I studied literature at school. You studied communication, right? So it's 2 different fields. But they made me read a lot of...
I used to went to public school.
No, I'm talking about college, you numbnuts. Anyway, so I've read a lot of... They made me read a lot of that, and I do enjoy reading Jane Austen and Emily Bronte and stuff like that. So there's a lot of that. But I wanted to introduce you to the sisters, because I think I'm enjoying writing the sisters. So the first one is Theodosia, called Theo. She's the first sister. She walks around and pants a lot.
Is her full name Theodosia?
Theodosia is an actual name from the time period.
But it's, Dear Theodosia.
That had nothing to do with it. But it's also cool because you can shorten it to Theo, which is a cool...
That's very cool. No, I really like that.
So she's more like if guys have ever watched Gentleman Jack, which is a great series.
That's a great series.
So she's kind of in that...
Is that coming back?
Yes, it is. It's getting another season.
Good,
yeah.
Good.
So she's in that. The second sister is called Helena, and she stays... While Theo went off to London and did all that sort of stuff, Helena has stayed at home looking after the place while her dad is sort of kind of locked in a tower, all of that sort of stuff. So she's sort of a softer kind of character, but she's also very strong. And then you got the 2 crazy twins, the 2 wild twins who have some deep connection to the forest that their sisters don't know about. And they're sort of like 12 years old. And they have a special twin language that they talk, and they kind of get up to all sorts of shenanigans. So I'm kind of in love with the sisters.
So I'm gonna real quickly drop a link for you, hon, in chat. It's from Bloomberg, and the headline reads: Netflix's Bridgerton offers more than COVID escapism. The popular series is challenging the conservative Bonnets and Bows historical drama.
Yeah. That's what I'm working on right now. And remember Puck from Chasing the Bard?
Yes.
A sort of character similar to him, not called Puck,
Shocker.
but has appeared. I mean, if you're gonna have a wild forest, you're gonna have a Puck sort of character in there.
You're gonna have fairy folk of some description.
Yeah. He sort of turns up, and again, like those sort of trickster characters, I didn't imagine that he was going to be there, but he just turned up in the pub one day when I was writing a scene. In this case, he's he claims to be a biologist, studying the forest, but really, so I don't know exactly what he's doing in there, which is fun. I'm not quite sure what he's going to be doing, but we'll see. I like that recommendation, Spence, but I'm not going to be reading anybody else's stuff that's similar right now. Once I'm done with it, I will absolutely do that, but I don't like to cross-pollinate too much. But I have been reading Jane Austen just to get the tone of the language and all of that, because Jane Austen was writing, that was her contemporary life, that was her life. So yeah. But yeah, I don't like to read too much, like, I don't want to read anything that's too similar just in case it bleeds across. That's the only reason. But I am still reading, right now I'm reading Emma. I'm working my way through all of the Austen books again. I had read most of them, but I don't think I'd ever read Emma. So I'm doing that. So right now, let me see while he's tippy-tapping away. Oh, and the other thing about the forest is that just imagine poets and painters and musicians tend to gravitate towards the forest, as long as they stay. I do not want to go. What's going on out there with the cats? So as long as these artistic types stay on the outer edges of the forest, they kind of get inspiration and a little touch of the magic reaches them. But if they go into the forest itself, that's when they can get in danger. But I couldn't help myself. My favourite romantic poet, John Keats, was alive at the time. He wasn't sort of at the height of his writing ability, and he hadn't yet caught tuberculosis either. So I was like, yeah, if there was a forest around like that, I'm pretty sure Keats would go there. So Keats ended up being in the story and maybe being a romantic interest. I'm not quite sure yet. So at the moment, Helena is looking for Keats. He's disappeared. Her sister Theo, as the eldest, is dealing with the fact there were a couple of nasty murders in the village, and she's trying to figure out what happened there. And the Grand Sorceress is doing some nefarious things. The Grand Sorcerer and the Grand Sorceress, I'm not revealing too much, when you become one, you become not immortal but very long-lived. So the Grand Sorcerer is probably about 500 years old, and the Grand Sorceress is sort of like at least 150. But the thing is, the Grand Sorcerer has become a bit of a stick in the mud. He likes his creature comforts, and he likes reading books, and he's like a very almost like a monk kind of figure. And the Grand Sorceress they have to kind of reside with each other in a sort of grand house in London. But she is kind of sick with his, she's sick of him. She's like, I have to live with this guy, and he's really boring, and he's always up in my face, and he's just dull. I'm sure we can all imagine that in the current COVID situation of being stuck with somebody that you don't want to be stuck with. He's in her bubble. And so she's looking at other ways to do things. Say some blood magic, some sex magic maybe. She's kind of thinking about that.
It'll be sex magic.
It might be sex magic. At the moment, it's sort of nebulous what she's doing. So she's gathering some aristocrats who also might want to benefit from this increase in power. And she's getting them to do her dirty work. So she's kind of the antagonist in this story, I think. Oh, I love to write a good antagonist. Or a bad antagonist. But as always, when you're writing somebody who's evil, they don't think of themselves as evil. She's just trying to increase her share of power that is hers by right. Sips tea. So I'm really enjoying getting the bits that I love from Jane Austen and then adding in a lot of folklore and magic. So we'll see. Yes. I'm not sure what that was for, Spence. Was it for a bad sorceress? It's for the sex magic. It could be for the sex magic. So yeah. It's all kind of fluid and interesting right now, but I'm also trying to gather it. It's like herding cats, kind of gather it into something that but of course, I think the grand finale is going to be...
Oh, that was for the sorceress.
Oh, that was for the sorceress, yes.
Sure.
And her name, I'm just enjoying the names. The grand sorceress's name is Beatrix Lennox. Beatrix Lennox. 2 X's in both her names. And the grand sorceress, I had a lot of fun writing him. Ashbrook Smythe is his name. He's the grand sorcerer. He just sounds like a guy that would be more happy like living in a library. So I know where I want to leave those the sisters. I know what sort of situation I want to leave them in. And I know that the finale is going to be within the Deep Weald. So in you've got the outside of the forest where sort of people, painters and that would set up in the fields looking towards the forest, kind of sucking down that magic. And then you've got the outer weald, so you've actually gone in under the trees. And that's a little bit more dangerous, but like local villagers go in there to get like there's magical sort of butterflies that they can capture and take and sell for amazing profits. Or you can find bits of fallen wood that you can take out of the forest and make amazing, musical instruments or whatever. So some of the local villagers go into the outer edges of the forest. And then you've got the Deep Weald, which is where like the real magic is. And no one's exactly sure what's there. So by the end of the story, I have to figure out what's there. This is the kind of thing that you end up like... Maybe I should have thought of that first. But I'm sure I will come up with something.
That's why it's called a work in progress.
It is. So I'm thinking it's either going to be like a Galadriel Celeborn kind of situation where there are some people in there. There might be a gate. There might be like some super trippy magic that kind of bends your mind. I guess there probably has to be. That probably has to be part of it. Because the people who go into the Deep Weald generally don't come out. They get messed up. So, of course you have to take your characters in there. I just have to decide if it's Theodosia or whether it's Helena who ends up in there. It could be either. And Theodosia is drawn to the forest and she actually loves it. But she's also worried if she goes in there then she'll kind of lose herself. Helena is scared of the forest. She likes looking at it from a great distance. But she's scared of it because she's seen like poets come out be all like scrambled and elf shot and and their mother has, of course, they had a mother and a little brother and they disappeared into the forest. So I also have to think out what happened to them. Are they dead? Did they go somewhere else? So I have multiple sort of threads that I need to fix up. Beatrix, yeah. Yes, there are changelings. In fact, the very first chapter is from Theodosia's point of view, and she finds out that one of the local village's children has wandered into the forest. And most people, the villagers who live close to the forest, are very used to it, and they generally keep their children very, very close, or if they're like toddlers, they like literally tie a leash on them and keep them close by so that they don't just wander into the forest. So the fact that a local boy has wandered into the forest is odd. But it does occasionally happen, and occasionally there is a changeling sort of situation that goes on. Either that or the forest will leave you a gift in recompense for your child. So there's a murder, a missing child, a strange Puck-like guy, a ball, a sorceress with evil intentions. Oy, when I say it all together, I'm like, how am I going to pull this? I mean, I know it'll happen. I'm just confused about how I'm going to get there. So, right now, I'm at 40,497 words. And I want to get about 80, 90. In fact, if I got to 80, that would be fine, because then I want to sit and leave it for a little bit and then come back to it. And I may, usually what I end up doing is adding words rather than taking words away. So we shall see. Oh my gosh, I did work out what was at the center of the wheel. Huh. I'm not going to tell you, though. I'm not going to tell you what I decided on, because it may change. And also, maybe one day you'll get to read this. So, since T's got his... What T is working on Fear City, right, T?
Yeah, I'm working with a little bit of racism right now. Just
Just
a hint of racism.
There's a hint of racism leading to a main course of racism later on, maybe?
No. I'm a big boy!
This boy cannot step...
Yes, I can.
Well, let's...
I can do this. I can do
No,
this.
maybe not. Maybe I can't do this.
I can't do this.
No, I'm
Yes,
gonna
I
give it a
can.
go! I'm
Yes,
gonna
I
give it a go!
can.
I'm going... Oh!
Not cool, fodder. Not cool.
Oh, great. So now he's come over here to take... He's got wedged himself in there. I'm not in your way, am I? I should turn the camera so you can see. Can you see him now? Can they see him?
What? Hang on. Let me find out. Do they see him? Hold on a minute.
There he is.
Yes, they do. They see all,
He's
all,
wedged
all
against-
17 pounds of him wedged between the Olight and your computer.
So I'm all right now?
You're good. You're good. I can always fix it later.
This cat, man. This cat. He's 17 pounds.
Probably does. Well, he does get a little envious of Gamer Cat when Gamer Cat wants to.
He is,
come up
yeah.
here
He
and
wants
hang
some
out.
attention too. I'm a
He
beautiful
wants
boy.
attention, too.
I'm a beautiful, beautiful boy.
Beautiful boy. Everybody loves me. Miss Verbena says I am a prince. I want Miss Verbena to know not all Sebastians are created equal. So let's get on that, fodder. Get Miss Verbena back here. What?
So she can see that. Oh, no. Oh, why did I just close that? Fucking heck. Open that again. Okay. Let's see. So I'm darting backwards and forwards. I started writing about the ball because that was easy to imagine. I've got this bit here where... He's slowly pushing at my computer to try and get more space. I'm like, come on. Come on. Do not come up here, Benedict. I also have a Jane Austen soundtrack and a Regency music thing to kind of get me in the headspace, so I'm going to play that. But I also have a creepy ambience and a chase soundtrack.
Yo, Successful Geek, how are you, Adam? I think this is the first time I've seen you in stream, so Happy New Year to you.
That's weird. You used to be able to add images to character sketches, so you'd have something like you could find a person that you thought,
Yeah,
oh, that's what they
still
look
do
like. I can't seem to get the image to go.
Try dragging.
I've tried dragging them.
The reason why there's a slight echo here, Geek, is because the pickups in the microphone are so sensitive that they're actually picking up.
I can turn mine off while I'm not talking.
No, that's all right. That's all right. Actually, what I need to do, I need to go one step further. Hold on. Hold, please. Oh, wait. I think I know something else I can do. See if that makes you louder or something. I think that might make you actually louder. Yes, I see you. I see you. Oh, that made you loud. Much better. Just had to turn down the I was checking the was checking the pickups to see if there was something I could do about the pickup pattern, and she was on Cauteroid, so that was the right pickup. Her gain was cranked up a little bit, so I just basically took her gain down. And it's not the echo really isn't it's Pip's microphone and my microphone, and we're picking each other up. So yeah, I just had to turn down the gain. I thought I had the wrong pickup selected. I was using that one for the cooking stream I did recently. Froy, I think you would have loved the last cooking stream I did. Last cooking stream, it was over 4 hours long. And it was from Trejo's Tacos again. And I was doing his Baja Surf and Turf burritos. Pip can tell you about them, but it was the tasty. Spicy Diablo shrimp. And it was also spicy Diablo shrimp and carnitas. And let's see, I also made with that a lime crema, some pico de gallo, some salsa roja. Computer, how do you say mango in Spanish?
Mango in Spanish is mango.
Okay, mango.
Mango.
So it would be salsa roja con mango. Salsa roja con mango. Carnita. Oh, when we all get our jibby jabs, I gotta make carnitas for Froy.
Yes.
I've got to make carnitas for Froy. Mango. Okay, what el mango? I love me some mango. Yo encanta mucho mango. Made beer brats and sour. Oof. Oh, there you go. So I made all that, and
look at Gamer Cat.
And
his eyes are huge. Sorry, he
I
looks
have
like
no idea. What
he is space. Look at his tail.
Yeah. What?
He's like freaking out.
Are you tripping bear balls on the gabapentin? Is that what's going on?
Maybe.
So Phased, what's your question? What's the question you got for me? What's the question you got for me there? Let the cat trip. Whoa. Yeah, Phased out. You have to be to drop links in chat. You have to be a sub. That is a sub perk. So, what exactly were you asking me about? What was the? You were referring something. Okay. All right. So, I tell you what. If it try asking me again. If Nightbot times it out again, whisper the question to me. So so I can see exactly what it was you wanted to know about, what it was you wanted to ask me about. All right. Okay. So when I open Twitch on the browser as a Original Geek, what does it show me under promoted tweets? Given I watch mostly arts, gaming, and writing streams. Sports. So, are you asking? Okay, so Phase, what you gotta remember about the actual Twitch, the actual Twitch. Now, do you mean? Now, let me ask you this: are you talking about? Are you saying that when you come to Twitch.tv, like the main site, you see stuff for sports? Or are you talking about when you come to my channel, they show an ad or something at the very beginning? Is that what you're talking about? Are you talking about on the actual website itself, or or when you go directly to twitch.tv/the T Monster, and you see an ad at the very beginning? They do have random ads for that sort of thing. The actual Twitch interface, the actual twitch.tv interface, when you get there, is really more for what's hot right now. Yeah. It's because right now a lot of people are consuming sports on Twitch. The NFL is trying to tap into the audience. I mean, NHL. I mean, I really do believe that the sports community, and keep this in mind, they've been showing esports on Twitch for a long time. And I think the main leagues, the networks, I mean not the networks, but the main leagues, the NHL and NBA, etc. and so forth, they all figured out, wow, we have actually an audience here, and you're seeing more and more. You're seeing more and more people are starting to go to Twitch as a ways and means of distributing their stuff. A perfect example, when they did the first launch of the Dragon spacecraft with a manned crew, one of the biggest audiences that Twitch ever had was with NASA. NASA has their own channel, and there were representatives of NASA that had shown up at TwitchCon, and I got to meet some of them, and they were really nice people. And they announced at TwitchCon that there was a brand new mission to the moon planned called Project Artemis, and it's going to be the first time women are going to the moon. All right, you got to get on that, because otherwise the cats will rebel. So just, But that's why you're seeing sports on Twitch, because as much as I would love to say that I play some of the top games on Twitch, I do not. And when you look at the top games that are on Twitch, a lot of them include things like FIFA and NBA and Madden. So there is a demand. There is a demand. Some original geeks may not get into that, but you know what? Twitch is like, this is what's currently popular on the network, on the Twitch network. So that's what's going on. Now, phased out, do not yuck another person's yum, and keep this in mind. Because of that lady over there, I'm now a fan of rugby. Because of her, I'm a fan of rugby. And let me tell you something. I am so hyped up as a fan of rugby. Pip can attest. I scared the New Zealand house guest that we had.
You've got to dial it back a little bit.
Well, according to Pip's relatives, well, that's the thing, and that was the thing I noticed. I mean, I remember my first ever rugby game, chat. I'll tell you a quick story. I was watching the game, and I said, "Honey, I have no idea what's happening, but I tell you something. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen." And this guy 2 rows ahead of me, bombed out of his skull, turns back to me and goes, "Oh, that's an American. I get a coach. Rugby, eh?" I was like, "Yeah." I had no idea.
It sounds Scottish, but yeah, I get what you're meaning.
Well, he was the same guy. Heaven! Hey, Heaven! I got your beard, Heaven! That was that guy.
It was quite
Quite a night.
To,
Quite a night. We were all walking back to the hotel, and there's these guys behind us going, "Yeah, I would fuck Dan Carter."
No, I would have Dan Carter's babies.
I would have Dan Carter's babies.
No, it wasn't Richie McCaw. I think it was Richie McCaw, because he's a local.
Yeah, oh, that's right. He was a Dunedin boy. He's a Dunedin boy. So he goes, "Oh yeah, I'd have Richie McCaw's babies, but not in a gay way." And I'm like, I gotta keep walking. I just gotta keep.
He was
walking.
right behind us.
And he. But to be fair, after seeing some of the pictures of Richie McCaw,
Yeah.
I'd have his babies too. And you know what? In an especially gay way, because let me tell you something. Hang on a minute. Okay, you want to see what I'm talking about here? There's Rugged, and then there's Richie effing McCaw. Hang on a minute. Let me pull up Richie McCaw.
He remember we went into the store where they sell all the the shirts and stuff, and they had like a mannequin that was done to Richie McCaw's specifications.
Big boy Richie McCaw.
But remember the lady said, "Yeah, someone tried to steal
Repeatedly.
Richie McCaw," and this is not. It was just the same size and shape as Richie McCaw. It didn't have a head, but then they were like, "I don't care."
Nobody cares. I mean, but he's just an. There we go. There you go. There you go. Richie McCaw, everybody. Hang on a second.
I'm just taking some time here to add some pictures to my.
Just gonna go on ahead and drop this. This is the Telegraph. This is from the Telegraph.
Scale that image a bit.
Take a look at that picture. Take a look at that
Don't
picture there,
distract me
chat.
with that.
There's Rugged, and then there's Richie McCaw Rugged. And let me tell you something. You watch that homeboy do a haka, it's over. You better hope you're on the team that's delivering, because I'm sorry, the reason why Australia have yellow uniforms has nothing to do with the fact that it's a country color. They are pissing themselves when they see a bunch of Kiwis just slapping their thighs and their arms and doing the
Well,
hey.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Kamite! 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 Hey! Good times, baby. Good times.
If we were in New Zealand right now, we could go to an actual.
Yeah, no, we
stadium and
could.
watch
We
that.
could. Froy was like, they bring the correct color pants? Yes. Yes, they do. Phased Out says they have a Kiwi colleague where he is at. He is small and angry. They call him the grumpy little hobbit. But yeah,
You would
I
not
mean,
call Richie McCaw a grumpy little
no,
hobbit.
there's no. There was a campaign. There was a campaign where Adidas or Adidas, depending on what area of the world you're at, where they were talking about Richie McCaw, and it was his final year with the All Blacks, and they just did this panning shot of Richie McCaw running up a small mountain in the rugged hills of Dunedin. And there, you hear the chanting of the Maori behind him, and he's just running up this mountain.
And this is what New Zealand women are doing.
Ha!
Slowly sliding out of
Wasn't
their
there? Wasn't there a now? There's another beautiful man. Well, compared to Richie, any mountain is small. That's very true. Faced Out.
He's just like.
But there was another beautiful man that used to be on the All Blacks named Dan Carter. And I believe Pip has a story about Dan Carter's underwear ad.
Yeah, he's not a bad looking dude.
Okay, wait, chat, wait. Let me put a
He's not a
let
bad
me put a
looking
picture
dude.
of Dan
Show
Carter.
a picture so that people know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
here
I think
when
I could probably find it. All right.
So he was an underwear model after he did rugby. He did rugby first, and then he was pretty enough to be a underwear model. And in Wellington, on one of the skyscrapers.
Yep, there it is. There it is.
Did you find the picture of him?
I found it. I found a shit ton.
Oh.
I hate this
There's
guy.
one where he's in a blue pair of
Yep.
boxes.
Oh, I found it. I hate
So,
this fucking
they
guy.
put this- they
I
put-
hate this fucking guy.
They put this up on the it took up the whole
Side of the building.
Of what it was like at least I don't know. 30
The article I'm about to
stories.
post is from New Zealand, and it's called Dan Carter: A Life in Undies.
Yeah, but apparently they put it up then.
Oh yeah, so
They
yeah.
put it up. This whole side of the building was Dan Carter in his undies, and people were complaining because there were all these car crashes.
But then when you see that, chat, when you take a look at the picture,
Yeah.
Froy's like, go on. When you see that link and you see Dan Carter, it was funny too. We took a couple friends. We were visiting Chicago because the All Blacks with Richie and with Dan, they were touring. They were touring New Zealand. And I'm sorry, they were touring Chicago, and they were doing a rugby game between the United States rugby team. We use the term United States rugby team in very, very broad terms, but we took these two friends. We took these two friends of ours to the rugby game, and at the end of the rugby game, we said to him, "So what'd you think of the New Zealand All Blacks?" And Allie leans in and goes, "Okay, T, I'll have a number 7. Mel will have the 13 with an extra side of fries." Oh my God. Good times, baby. Good times. Good times.
Okay, I put some more character.
My significant other saw one of the All Blacks hawkas and only said, "Holy man meat." Yeah, no kidding. I haven't been 19 in a long time. No, they're saying Worldcon 2019. Was I at Worldcon 17 or 9? I've only been to 2 Worldcons in my life.
We were in Reno.
There was one in Reno, and that was
And
in.
there was one in San Jose.
Oh no, I'm sorry. No. San Jose was World Fantasy.
Oh, okay.
We've done World Fantasy several times. We've done Worldcon only twice. One was in
Oh yeah, Australia.
one was in Australia,
Melbourne.
and then the other one was there. So you met Mur at both of them? Yeah, I don't think Phased Out. I don't think we've met in the actual meat space. I don't think we have.
Just updating the file with a few more images. I can post a link, can't I, on Twitch?
Yes, you're a sub, so you're
Is
absolutely.
Spence still there? I was gonna post. I had a really good link.
Wait, Phased Out went. Wait, why am I reading Human Resources then Elf? So, okay, now DragonCon 2012 Phased Out may have been a possibility. Because I'm trying to
Yeah,
remember last
we
time.
would have been there 2012.
Yeah, we were there 2012.
We went in
yeah.
2007, and then I think the next time we went was 12, probably. But I remember that even when we went last time, we were like, "This has grown."
What? Oh yeah. Oh heck yeah. Oh wow. Harris Heller has a track called Cloak and Dagger, and it sounds absolutely 80s rific. I mean, like super 80s.
We were riding in the 70s, so yeah.
Yeah, I know, but no. Remember, this is late 70s, early 80s.
Oh, okay.
So I can find it. Sinju Lights. This is from the album Lone Wolf. Lone Wolf. Nice. I like his stuff. I do like his stuff. But boy, does this sound. This sounds super 80s. I will say this too about Harris Heller. He put out a lo-fi Christmas mix at the end of last year called A Very Lo-Fi Christmas, and it was terrific. It was absolutely terrific. I have social anxiety. I went to DragonCon to see if I could have the mental fortitude to attend the San Diego Comic-Con. Gentle reader, he did not.
No.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have the fortitude to do San Diego Comic-Con as an attendee.
No.
Hey, look, if San Diego Comic-Con wants to take me on as a guest or take us on as guests, because we're a double act.
When they have guests, they have handlers.
Yeah, they
who,
yeah
like, take you through.
And that's
things,
you
and
kind of need the closest Pip and I have ever had that kind of treatment happen was New York Comic-Con, and that was an insane trip because Pip and I get to New York Comic Con, and it's like 100K people, and we don't know where to go. And we are madly, we have like an hour, which when you're at an event that size, you're lucky if you can get to where you need to be in an hour's time. So we're searching. It's now an hour becomes 30 minutes. We find someone with a T-shirt that says New York Comic Con staff, and we say, we have a signing, and we don't know where to go, and we need to know where to go for this book signing. And the guy looks down, looks at us, and he smiles, and he goes, "I can help you."
Like, I finally have someone I can help.
And yeah, that was so. Yeah, Dragon Con is Dragon Con's a tough event. Dragon Con is a tough event, and yes, Will Wheaton is. That doesn't surprise me at all, because remember, the rule of Wheaton is don't be a dick, and he can tone it down for television, but I've read his book, Just a Geek, and let me tell you, he does not pull any punches. He does not pull any punches. So yeah, but anyway, but going back to what you were asking me, Phased Out. Let me finish this thought, and then I can talk a little bit about what I'm currently working on. Okay, so Will is delightfully. Well, see, we don't really have Phased Out. We really don't have a Patreon, and my plan is that this particular work in progress is going to be something that I pitch to New York. So this is called Fierce City, New York. The plan is. And you missed it. You missed it a few weeks back. We actually filled this whiteboard, which is behind Pip. You can't see it at all. You can't see it at all. A little bit? If you angle it up, there you go. If you angle it up and around, that whiteboard we just recently filled. We filled with, and you can let it go. And pan down. Do you want me to fix your camera, baby?
I can't get it to pan down. You can see the top of my head.
You want to see your beautiful face. There we go. Anyway, but we basically were mapping out different things that we're working on, and yes, we're in the same room, Phased Out, and actually, what we were. No, not anymore. But what we've got.
It's been 10 years since we were a planet.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But what we've got here, this whole whiteboard thing that we've got here, it's actually not a whiteboard so much as it's whiteboard paint. And the whiteboard paint, we basically turned one of our walls into a giant idea wall. And I'm currently working on this thing called Fierce City, New York. And it's a planned trilogy: Fierce City, New York, Fierce City, Vegas, Fierce City, DC. And what I've done is I'm basically doing the first story is going to be like the building blocks of the downfall of the New York Mafia, and I'm basing it off of actual historical events, but I've thrown in elves and orcs into the mix. And I got this inspiration from watching a terrific documentary that's on Netflix called Fear City, New York versus the Mob. And I've just been running with it. I've been running with this idea just to see where it goes. I may have to change the title. That's fine too. But yeah, I mean that's the thing, Froy. I absolutely I saw a buddy who had a giant wall. A giant whiteboard, and he said, "Yeah, I want to get rid of the whiteboard and just do a giant. I just paint the whole thing in this dry erase board paint." So Pip and I got home. It was Eric Buchanan was the author's name, and we got home and I said, "Pip, look into that." So she looked it up and I was like, "That's relatively cheap. Why don't we do it?" So we went on ahead and we did this, and it's been a godsend. It's been great. It's been great. And Serena liked it so much. She's got an invisible white. They do one where you can have a whiteboard, but it's invisible paint as opposed to white paint. So Serena has purple walls in her room, but one wall is nothing but dry erase. So it's really cool. Yeah, I've seen that phased out. I've seen that. That's a favorite. That's a favorite of ours. All right, let me get back to it. So anyway, so the concept is that this is Fear City, New York is going to be the downfall of the New York mob, and you find out that the mob is actually ruling not just with elves and orcs in their ranks, but they've also got magic. In fact, they're using blood magic. And when you look into like when you hear about the ceremony that you go through about becoming a made man, that's where I've kind of seeded the idea that that's what the mob is doing. They're using blood magic to rule, and which is why not only are the orcs terrified of them, but so are the elves. And when people ask, well, how do you get elves and orcs in a world with Joe Bonanno and and the Colombino family? Well, that's what you find out in Fear City, Las Vegas. And then the whole thing is going to come to a head in Fear City, DC. And this is late 70s, early 80s, so there's probably going to be some touches of Reaganism in there and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been so far. This is the 5th chapter, and it's been a fun ride so far. It's been a fun ride. And so there's no Patreon. The plan is that I'm going to finish this draft and then start searching for an agent for it. We'll see what happens.
He's backing it up.
Are you backing it up? You backing it up there, Cat? I'm gonna sit here. I'm a small cat. Oh, we're perfectly safe, phased out. We're perfectly safe.
Yeah, we're fine.
We're asking Freud take it nice and safe too as well. But whatever they're planning,
I'm back.
I'm back, Mother.
I'm a big boy, and I'm just stuck in the Stargate.
Fodder, not cool. Do not blow up my butt. Not cool. I love this thing. So anyway, if they are planning something, this time I don't think DC is going to be not ready for it. From the looks of it, whatever's going to go down is going to go down. But I'm also erring on the side of optimism. I have faith. All right, let's get back to it now. Okay. All right. Oh, and you need to do your Duolingo. I know that. I know that feeling all so well. Last night was a close night, but I managed to stay in a Diamond League. So get your Duolingo done, and good luck, Faced Out. Thanks a lot. Thanks for hanging with us. Yeah, I'm a little distracted, everybody, but if you're in Richmond, Virginia right now, my hometown, please be careful. Please be very careful. Wow. Just be careful. Well, Nick, she is she being Pip. She is not plugged into the sound. I'm fine. I just got a little distracted by something here at work. I was going to use a turn of phrase here, but I can't use it because it's a group that was founded in the late 80s as opposed to the early 80s, late 70s. So I'm trying to think. Manad, first off, one, welcome to the stream. And second, if you've got a question, feel free to ask. If it's inappropriate, I'll let you know. But you got to ask first. You got to ask. Why do so many always male science fiction fantasy authors wear hats, especially indoors? Always either a broad brim black one or a farmer's cap. Monad, I gotta say, I've never been asked that before. Pratchett or George R. R. Martin style, those are the two choices. So here's my...
What's this question?
Why do so many always male science fiction fantasy authors wear hats, especially indoors? Pratchett's always, he's always had the cowboy hat. Mm-hmm. And then you got George R. R. Martin with the little Greek fisherman's cap.
It's definitely a branding thing.
Yeah.
People can find, like if you're in a convention, people can find you if you're wearing a cowboy hat. Romance writers, which are generally women,
Yeah.
dye their hair different colors.
Yeah.
Bright colors usually for the similar sort of reason.
Gil
It's sort of
Carriger wears vintage dresses.
It's a branding, it's a recognition thing, to kind of make you stand out, I guess.
I've always thought it was
It
also
could
to.
also be that they're bald underneath.
That's what I was gonna say. That it hides bald spots. I can honestly say the closest I've ever come to wearing any kind of branding like that was a trilby, but I was wearing trilbies because I was willed one by PG
That's
Holyfield.
true, yeah. So, but in that case, but a lot of authors do that. I've seen authors, Melanie Meadows. She wears like a particular style of vintage with. She makes her own clothes actually,
Right.
but she makes it out of that sort of quirky, like little dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So that's also a sort of a style. It just makes you more recognizable.
It's yeah.
I think it's definitely a branding thing.
It's a
People
branding thing,
they're
but
like, who would you? I mean, George R. Martin. I mean, obviously you'd probably recognize him even if he didn't wear the braces.
He does.
and the
He
hat.
does. Yeah, for George R. R. Martin, the branding is braces and a braces and
And a flat cap.
and little Greek fisherman's cap. For Pratchett, it was like a cowboy hat.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Cyberwolf is right. Yeah, people. And it can happen, I guess, probably organically. You're wearing something, and they're like, "Hey, remember,
Yeah.
somebody's wearing that cowboy hat. Oh, I can spot him immediately." Also, I think that's generally it. But yeah, women and men do it, but in different ways. But for men, it's easy just to slap on a hat, right?
The thing that I learned is whenever you go to these events, because I attempted my own style
Empty
of
disguise. Well,
Yeah.
that's the other thing. If you take off the hat and you're not wearing some of the stuff, you could go undercover.
like Jackie Daytona, average human bartender. You
You
take
put a
out the
toothpick
pick.
in and you're like,
The brilliant disguise, But I mean, for me, it was for me when I tried to brand myself at these events, I would like wear polos that had my website on them and things like that, and I realized after a few cons, it was best to just wear what worked best for me. I mean, I've seen friends of mine. They've created their brand around bow ties, and that works if you want to do that.
I mean, there's sort
for,
of.
For me, I think I mean, I wouldn't say all science fiction fantasy authors would do that. I have seen
Not all of them,
I
though.
have seen some older ones do that, but for me, it's always been I just try to dress as comfortably as possible. And the thing I don't like about wearing hats, I won't lie here.
You've got a lot of hair.
I have a lot of hair, so I
get
get
hat
hat hair like that. I get hat head on a dime. So there's that.
I mean, I don't. Not everybody has their own sort of personal go-to branding. Thing,
Well, not actually. There's some female science fiction fantasy authors that are very specific about what they wear as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I know that, like I said, Gail Carriger.
Piper J. Drake, when she goes,
She always does immaculate fashion.
She has like a series of silk,
Yeah.
like dress, like business style.
business style
silk
suits and dresses.
and
Yeah.
she has them in a bunch of different colors.
Right.
But they're always very specific, so you can always find her.
Right. I mean, when I go to I would say, Nick, along with comfortable shoes, you want shoes that have really good arch support.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going to an event like MagFest, or you're going to an event like AwesomeCon or something along those lines. But what I tend to do, it also depends on what I'm doing at the event. If I'm presenting on my own, I'm going to try to wear something that is professional and it's clean. It's just very sharp. If I've got a few panels for the day and they're fun topics, then yeah, I'm gonna dress a little more casually. Maybe a t-shirt, probably a fan shirt or something like that. And then finally, if I'm on a professional, if I'm on a panel, but I know it's like professional, I'm gonna do business casual. I'll do something like this. I'll wear something like this. But it all depends. It all depends on the event. I mean, You know, yeah, yeah. Gaiman is a different kind of branding altogether.
But he also has a certain way he dresses.
He has a certain look.
He always dresses in black.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, but he also has that hair that he lets, you know. It's also a brand.
And the other thing I would say about dismissing Gaiman on the grounds that he doesn't have a hat. Look at it. If you're gonna go that route, here's what I'll say about Gaiman versus George R. R. Martin. George R. R. Martin may have a hat, but Gaiman will finish a series that he starts. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. Just gonna leave it at that.
You can say the same about Stephen King, but you know what Stephen King looks like.
Yeah, exactly.
But
so Rev 3,
and some authors don't like to be recognized.
right?
There are
Now,
some events where they like to go under
Nick's got a good one. Do you dress differently if you are on a panel versus being a moderator?
Yes.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I would say that. Yeah.
Take a little bit more care.
Exactly.
It's just weird pronouncement. It's a lot of words.
Hey. Bye.
Yes, Viola? What? Viola? Yes? What is it, Bob? Did you want to come up here and make your presence known? She's giving me that look.
Is there a problem? Is Viola reporting a problem?
Viola, are you reporting a problem?
Is there an issue? Is there an issue you'd like your humans to address?
Is it food bowl or is it litter box related? Jeez. And here's the third cat.
I don't want screen time. Your viewers cannot handle it. Your viewers cannot handle this much coot.
That's Vi. That's the prissy one. That's the prissy one.
Charge. She's also 12 pounds, so she's not a small kid, eh?
What is the matter, Vi?
She's staring at me like I've done something wrong.
Has he done something wrong? Is there problems? Is there problems?
Doesn't want to talk about it. You're our prissy queen, Vi. Behold the queen.
Send the queen this way.
I don't care. I can't stuff it through the Stargate. She won't like that.
Well, let's see if she goes through the Stargate. Are you thinking about it, Vi?
Would you like to go through the Stargate? Is there a treat in it?
That means I'd have to go towards father. I'm not too keen on that.
Would you like it?
Oh, look, there's boyfriend. There's boyfriend.
She's actually low-level purring.
What?
Despite she's actually low-level purring.
Low level purring. There you go.
Because I'm rubbing her belly.
She's like, there's boyfriend. Somebody getting a treat? Maybe if someone got a treat, I might go through. Is there a treat? Oh, there's a treat! There's a treat! Mother, someone's getting treats!
There you go.
She's a good girl. Would you like a treat? Would you like to go through the Stargate?
Oh, you just made her drop the treat between the desks.
Give me another one. I'll eat a treat between the
Oh.
Stargate. Jeez.
That's treat number 2.
Just give him a proper treat in her face hole.
I'm trying to get into her face hole. There we go. There we go.
There you go.
Got it into her face hole. We're all good now. We're all good.
Okay, now go through the Stargate.
I don't want to. Oh my God.
Benedict just jumped through and got the. I don't know whether.
Oh, so much pain and misery. Vi! Sweet Vi.
This is not what I want.
What?
My cat heard the word treat and has come to glare at me.
Yeah.
I can't be held responsible for that. You see the relationship between T and Viola?
It's not. I only like
She's got this one paw right on my jugular, and she's just like,
I can take you out in a moment.
Oh, sweet fart. Now Benedict's looking for treats through the star.
Benedict, come on. Oh, that's one. Whoa, 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 whoa! Oh my God.
He turned around. He was half in the Stargate, and then you heard the treats, and so he turned around and kind of took it with him.
Well, he did a number on my keyboard again. Hey! How you doing there?
Oh!
All right, hang on, honey. Before
Something's loosened.
There we go.
I think the stand needs a tightening up or something.
There we go.
Okay.
We've got that
I
fixed.
told you that thing was dangerous.
All right, let's see if I can fix the
Listen to
keyboard.
me.
All right, there's that. Do I want to turn the desktop? No, I don't. How did you even do that? Okay. All right.
I'm listening
Everything
to
all
Jane
right?
Austen
We're all good.
soundtracks now.
We're all good. We're all good. And
Bye,
how are you,
Panic.
Panic? How are you, Panic?
How are you doing today? Everybody, you're all completely well now, are you? Hey. Watching you. Judging you.
Nothing. I'm not doing nothing.
Did Bass get a treat?
Would you
Yes, he did. Bass did get a treat.
Would you like
Yep.
a treat to be a good boy?
You on the lunch break? Oh, has it been a good day? Been a good day, I hope.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Hope it's been a good day for you. Let's see.
Good news. They say that COVID immunity lasts at least 6 months now.
Meaning what? Meaning
Like your body remembers the the virus for at least 6 months. Because let's face it, this thing is so new. We don't know any.
we still don't know
We don't know about
we
that.
still don't know everything about it. That's true. That's very true.
But we want our jibby jabs.
We so badly want our jibby jabs.
We're like, I'm thinking of all the things we could do. I mean, I know that things are not going to go straight back to normal. We will still be using masks and stuff for quite a while to come. But yeah. Okay, I have to share this.
Nick is writing up Night Stalker for his site just to make you proud.
Oh,
Yeah, we just started that.
yeah.
That's actually
We
quite
love
good
it, we
so
love it.
far. It's quite
So
good.
do you want to hear this? I'm going to post this on the ministry because it's such a good one. British tea translator. Cup of tea? Welcoming a guest. Tea? I find this situation awkward. Spot of tea? A foreign guest has activated hyper-English Mary Poppins mode. Pot of tea? Trying to impress the in-laws. I'll make some tea. there has been complete devastation.
That seems very limited. There's got to be others in
I
there.
think that's a good start.
It's a good start.
Tea
I mean,
translated.
right. I'll put the kettle on. Relax. Let's talk about this. We'll be all right.
Well, no. If I'm saying put the kettle on, we need to. We're having a big discussion. Something's gone down. It might be good or bad.
Yeah.
But we need to talk.
Yeah.
Cup of tea. A spot of tea. A foreign guest has activated hyper English mode. I like that one. That's pretty funny. I'm going to post that on the ministry at some point. Let's go back to my... It's weird. There's a Radiohead on this song on this Jane Austen soundtrack. I'm not quite sure. I think I'll just go to actually Regency music because that's... Yeah, and if I need like a little Regency top up, I like to watch Emma, which came out a year ago, well, roughly a year ago, because that is French Kiss. That is French Kiss, Chef Kiss. Perfect.
Okay, nearly 1,000 words. Not bad. Not bad. Okay. I realize this is a very archaic way to work, but for the sake of the stream, this is the easiest way for me to work. Alright, I'm going to take a quick break, get something to drink, and then resume writing here. I'll leave you in Pip's hands, chat. But you won't see much with the words happening because you're on my screen right now. Let's see here. Just trying to think of what else I need to do.
I could read a little bit while you come back.
Yeah, you can do that, sure.
Just read a little bit from something, one of the earlier chapters. Yeah, I'll read this little bit. This is, I always like to write a little bit about the, from the, antagonist's point of view a little bit. I think, there are certain ways, sometimes in certain kinds of stories you don't want to, like in some mystery stories you don't want to show your hand too much, but I think in this case, in this kind of story I'm writing, I think it's fine. So if you want me to read a little
Christina is all for that.
bit. Alright, leave them with me, I'll promise I'll be
Alright.
fine.
Just give me a second here.
Yeah. How's your word count going? I've got 1,000 words or so. Yeah. I'm gonna do 1,000 words and then I'm gonna go and do some.
I'm nearly at 1,000 words.
Okay. Once we get there, I'm gonna go and do some exercise. My new YouTube watching.
I just realized something. I have not transferred any of these folders, any of these chapters I've been working on.
Yeah.
I haven't
into the file?
sent any of them into my Dropbox. So
Yikes. We've all had that situation where you're like, I
Yeah.
haven't backed something up and then something goes wrong.
I'm dropping in all of them now.
I think that the worst I lost was probably 5,000 words once. It
Yeah.
was-
You don't want to do that. Okay. Yep. I've now got the first 5 chapters. No, wait a minute. That chapter is that chapter 2. Yeah. Oh, and I should probably take this Fierce City and 5 Families notes and put that in here as well. I'm actually starting the Bible now, honey.
You're starting the Bible now. That's a good idea. If you're going to write a series, start the Bible in the first time.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
yeah.
you have to go back and read your stuff, and it's just easier. Also, it's good when you have to refer to, like, what color was that character's eyes?
Yep. All right, I'll be right back, everybody.
All right, so
I'll leave you in the good hands of my wife.
All right, so I'm going to read you a little bit from so far what is chapter 3. Lord Henry Shrike entered Sentinel Gentlemen's Club at a most indelicate pace. He ignored the welcomes from several members on their way out of the marble edifice and strode past the maitre d' without even a word of welcome. A low mutter filled the lounge where the men of the nation decided its fate. With an incompetent libertine prince nominally in charge of the whole of Britain, there was no other choice but for others to take the reins. That was not what set Lord Shrike's blood to boil, but something over which he had no control of. The great Weald of the South. He clenched his cane until his knuckles hurt before he took his black top a hat, and relinquished it to a nearby footman without even a glance. Outside, London echoed his mood. Grey clouds and storms were promised. Over by one of the club's 4 fireplaces, he spotted the 3 men that might be called his conspirators, were they not combined 4 of the most wealthy men in the country. The elderly Duke of Richmond sat closest to the heat, his head quite bald, but his lip festooned with a fabulously groomed moustache. Mr. Hadley, the industrialist who owned nearly half of all the railways in the empire, leaned back on his chair, but was so tiny as to be almost overlooked. Finally, James Morton, second son of the Earl of Nye, nursed a glass of brandy as he propped himself up against the fireplace. He was a huge, ginger-bearded man that Shrike considered just a little too Scottish-looking. But at least when he spoke, his accent was northern, rather than tainted by any hint of a Celtic burr. This is why you read things aloud, so you can do these sort of things. Shrike slammed the latest paper down on the table between them. There was a sound doubled by the silence at the club, and a few members sitting nearby jerked their heads up to examine the cause of the outrage. Spotting him, they quickly returned to their papers or whispered conversations. It was hardly the first time Lord Henry Shrike had broken the rules of the club. His was one of the few that even Tattingers would not censure. He was one of the few that even Tattingers would not censure. Still, he lowered his voice to a deep rumble as he spoke to those 3 men whom he considered even close to his compatriots. Another rout by the bloody French. Where were the Grand Sorcerer and Sorceress this time, do you imagine? Hadley looked at Shrike with a faint smile on his lips before putting down his glass. Our exquisite magicians once again reported to the Department of War, but their attempts to take themselves and their powers across the pond have failed. I hear they both screamed quite beautifully before they even got on the boat. Richmond let out a soft snort while Morton leaned over, took up the decanter, and poured himself a whisky. Another foul Scottish habit he had. We can only be grateful that old Boney's pair can't come here either. I'm not going to do a northern accent. Shrike ignored that comment, since obviously anything British had to be superior to some Frenchie. I thought there were experiments being done, though. Even some sounded promising. The other 3 laughed. Dear boy, Richmond said, coughing on his drink. The magical pair only put that about to appease the hounds of war in Parliament. Everyone knows the wield's power doesn't extend over water. And yet Bonaparte can use his all over Europe. Shrike plumped himself down in his chair and stared at the newspaper dumbly. The Corps de Verre runs through France and Prussia. Hadley waved his hand, leaned back in his chair and stared at the ceiling. It is unfortunate for us, to be sure, but very useful for him. It makes every battle that much more dangerous for Wellington. The ancient forests of Europe provided a sorcerer and sorceress that put England's enemy in a far superior position, and Shrike didn't care for the odds of victory, while that was the case. Bonaparte might not be able to move his men with iron swords, rifles, and cannons into the woods themselves, but on the fields of the Low Countries, the magic it provided proved to be an unsettling advantage. Only a month before, the French Sorcerer Supreme caused the ground to open up and swallow a whole battalion of fine fighting Englishmen. So our magicians dither and doesn't even try to explore the options. Our magicians dither and don't even try to explore the options, Shrike blurted out, unable to contain himself. His 3 compatriots shrugged and nodded. It is the way it's always been, Richmond said, in the tones of a man halfway to giving up. If Napoleon won the war, he was far too old to care much. For the rest of the men at the table, they would either have to deal with the ramifications or possibly be shot as Boney cleared the way for his own men to take charge. But not the way it must always be, another voice, lighter and feminine, broke in. The Grand Sorceress appeared, as she was wont, exactly where she was not expected. Her magic allowed her access to anywhere at any time. No wall or door could stop her. This was a gentleman's club, and yet here she was, a woman, standing on the green baize carpet, staring down at the men seated around the table. Her profile stood out as sharply as an eagle's, and even in her youth, Shrike thought she couldn't have looked terribly beautiful. Luckily for her, she was the most powerful woman in the land, above any duchess or princess. In addition, the usual conventions of the fairer sex did not apply to the Grand Sorceress, Beatrix Lennox. One was immediately apparent. Going completely against the fashions for white and soft shades, she always wore a kind of deepest purple. It might be the colour usually reserved for those just coming out of mourning, but that meant nothing to her. She'd never married, had no children, and was rumoured to be nearly 100 years old. So, who did she have to grieve anymore? Madame Lennox also never justified just why she did so, and no one dared to question her closely on anything. Such a person might find themselves transported out into the ocean, or plummeting from a great height to an unfortunate and unexpected death. Beatrix Lennox stared down at the foremost powerful men in the Union for a long moment, and they stared back, flummoxed by her appearance. The usual etiquette just didn't seem to apply. Who introduced who when a sorceress appeared out of thin air? Letting out a weary sigh, she gestured to a padded red velvet chair sitting 10 feet away and drew a sign in the air. It slid across to her like a dog summoned by its master. Sinking into it, she inclined her head and smiled. "Not interrupting anything, am I, gentlemen?" A startled-looking footman approached her, keeping his eyes fixed on the ground. Any other woman would have been dumped on the street, but Grand Sorceresses commanded respect and fear. But the Grand Sorceress commanded respect and fear far above her sex. Shrike shot a look to Hadley, Richmond, and Wharton before clearing his throat. No, not at all, Your Eminence. We were just discussing the unfortunate news from the continent, like every man in London. Her sharp green eyes flicked up to his. "There is no need for lies, Shrike. Your words have carried far and reached my ears." Despite his station, all of Shrike's blood rushed out of his face as he anticipated an agonizing death in front of the club members. He might have been making noises about the magicians, but seeing the Grand Sorceress herself in the flesh reminded him rather quickly of the power both she and her counterpart wielded. They were no hedge witches or carnival showmen. His expression must have said it all, because she leaned forward and patted him on the hand. Her lace gloves were made of calfskin. No, they weren't. Her gloves were made of calfskin, and their smoothness might well be the last sensation he would ever feel. With her other hand, she made a second gesture before turning back to all of them. A tingle ran up Shrike's spine, and he couldn't decide if he liked it or not. "Do not fear, my dear gentlemen. All is well." She adjusted her hair, though it looked like nary a strand was out of place. "I am here because I share your same concerns and goals." For a moment, none of the men dared to breathe or move. Shrike caught a glimpse of Richmond's hands clenching on the arms of the chair, while Morton shot a look over his shoulder as if anticipating the sorcerer to show up on her heels. Perhaps this was some kind of trick. Yet Shrike couldn't help feeling a little whisper of curiosity build in the back of his mind. The truth was, the mysteries of the relationship between sorcerer and sorceress had never been examined closely, as far as he was aware. It was always assumed that they were in total sync, a pair of matching guardians of the realm. Above all, after all, they both came out of the Weald and derived their powers from the same place. Yet now some small flicker on the Harridan's face gave Shrike pause. Adjusting in his chair and fixing his face in what he hoped was a mask of uncaring, he dared to ask, "And just what would those goals be, Madam Sorceress?" Glancing over his shoulder, she gestured one of the footmen over, who'd been hovering in the shadows, not quite sure of the protocol. A snap of her fingers got his attention, however. "Brandy," she commanded before turning back to the four men. "Why, the complete destruction of Bonaparte, of course. What other outcome can be desired by every English man, woman, and child?" When the men just stared in confusion, she sighed and continued. "Let me be more precise. I wish to ascertain how my powers, contained here in this country, might be moved across the channel to the theatre of war on the continent." Richmond cleared his throat, a hint of a condescending smile lurking on his lips. "Dear lady, what matter has been that matter has been the subject of debate among all the learned scholars of Oxford, Cambridge, as well as the Department of War. And yet, she snapped, just as her tumbler of whisky arrived. The unfortunate waiter nearly dropped his silver tray, but after a moment of turning quite white, placed it on the table near the Grand Sorceress. I've got to decide whether it's grand or supreme. I'm still thinking about it. He then slipped away, probably to have a fainting spell. Beatrix smiled thinly and repeated, and yet no one has found a solution, nor asked me how it might be achieved. Don't you find that truly strange? All they do is make us put on theatrical shows in front of the whole damn Navy. Hadley shot her a look out of the corner of his eyes. The rumours reached Shrike's ears. Hadley was not apparently above conducting some experiments of his own on his country estate. His, however, concentrated on how he might gain access to the magic of the Weald. Still, this must be hitting in his particular area of interest, because he leaned forward. Do you have some idea? Beatrix, Grand Sorceress of the United Kingdom, rolled the tumbler of brandy in her fingertips and nodded. The dim light coming in from the window struck the tiny glass beads that adorned her dress, casting an odd shade on her face. Shrike couldn't decide if he liked it or not. Yet when she spoke, all of his worries faded away like fog burning off a moor. Oh, yes, gentlemen, I know precisely the thing, but we need to be careful. Morton rubbed his ginger beard and looked about before he answered. The rest of the members stood not far off, and to a careful ear their words would be easy to make out. The Grand Sorceress smiled thinly. You may speak freely here. I cast a confusion spell. Even if anyone in the room could read lips, they would not be able to make it out. Handy ability, Shrike thought, licking his lips. He'd never been able to start a conversation up with Beatrix Lennox, and even a few short minutes with her was starting to give him ideas. Morton nodded, glanced about, and then spoke in his low, gravelly tone. The condensation he didn't even attempt to hide. And why exactly did you come here to tell us about it? We're merely four gentlemen spending time at our club. Beatrix Lennox let out a low chuckle. I hope you are not short-selling yourselves, dear fellows. You are almost the shadow cabinet in this country. Young men, and one slightly older, she said, gesturing to Richmond, who love this country and are not above bending the rules, shall we say, to protect it? Shrike liked what he was hearing, but his natural inclination was not to trust anyone who wielded such power, and simply turned up hinting at promises she had not yet given voice to. He had half a mind to turn on his heel and go. The only things that kept him in place were fear and curiosity. It could be said that the members of Parliament and the Regent himself love this country too. Why would you not go talk to them? For a moment he feared he'd gone too far, and his colleagues must have sensed it too, because they all leaned slightly away from him. Beatrix nodded, her eyes fixing him in place. That is fair enough question, my dear fellow, but ultimately it comes down to this. Leaning over, she jabbed her finger onto the newspaper, pointing to the headlines. The government is more afraid of Ashford Smythe and myself than they are of Boney. They simply do not have the will to get the job done, no matter the unpleasant side effects.
I do love the fact you're calling him Boney.
Boney. Well, that's what they called him.
I know.
The men were silent a moment, chewing over what exactly she might mean by that. Morton recovered first, placing his empty glass down on the next newspaper. He looked up at her. You mean unsanctioned magic? Blood, sex, death. The group of four had danced around the subject for many months, but this was the first time that any of them had uttered the words. Using any of those magics in the kingdom meant death, and in the most unpleasant way. 10 hedge witches had been hung and drawn and quartered when Shrike was only a lad of 10 years old, but their screams and the howls from the crowd was something he'd been unable to forget. His worst nightmares rang with them. Suddenly his mouth was as dry as a bone. Yes, the Grand Sorceress said in a measured tone, I speak of the unholy three. Her eyes raked over the four men, weighing and measuring their response. Shrike had the distinct impression if any of them moved from their spots, she would have struck them dead before they took a step. You think they offer the answer to this portability question? Richmond finally spoke up. His hand shook as he deposited his glass next to Morton's. She nodded slowly. I believe so. The problem is not only the lack of stomach for it from the government, but also from the Grand Sorcerer. He is stuck in the past, lost in the tangle of history. However, his lack of imagination has the advantage that he does not see my moves against him. Now Shrike feared he was going mad. The history of the magicians of the realm was inherently interlocked with the pairing. Ashford Smythe had been the Grand Sorcerer and steadying influence on the Empire for multiple generations. He'd stepped in for the betterment of the nation many times. Now Beatrix Lennox stood there before them, saying she had another plan. The men couldn't conceal their shock this time. Richmond half rose from his seat, which in itself was a miracle. Hadley went into a coughing bout, and even Morton leaned against the fire surround a little more heavily. Beatrix let out a little chuckle. Gentlemen, I took you to be made of stouter stuff. While they recovered, she leaned forward, bending at the waist, showing off the hint of her bosom. Shrike wondered if she thought this might influence them a little more. I came to you because of the code. Because the code places limits on what I can do. It does not, however, put such restrictions on you. You want us to investigate the Unholy Three on your behalf? Hadley asked. Her glance shot towards Morton. Yes, or in some cases, merely continue what you are doing in secret. What say you? They all looked about at each other, trying to judge the other's reactions before voicing their own. Shrike felt as though he was in a kind of fever dream. He'd come to the club to vent some of his rage, have a stiff drink, and then return to his business. The arrival of the Grand Sorceress scattered all those plans immediately. His colleagues had to be having the very same thoughts. Could they trust Beatrix Lennox? Might this not be part of some elaborate plan to lure them into danger? Could their enemies have planned this so they might have the pleasure of seeing them publicly executed? Yet, there was something about the glint in the eye of the Grand Sorceress, some hidden hope that bubbled to the surface that seemed as honest as anything he'd witnessed in a woman before. Strolling over to the cabinet, he located the oldest, most expensive scotch the club owned. Carefully, with due reverence, he poured 5 glasses and distributed them amongst those assembled. Once they had it in hand, he raised a toast. To new friends, he said, locking gazes with Beatrix Lennox, and new endeavours. What do you think?
I love it.
I love
it,
a
baby.
good villain scene.
I mean, is that the intro of the big bad, or is that just?
That's the intro of the big
Gotcha.
bad,
Gotcha.
which is chapter 3.
Gotcha.
So the first chapter is the boy gets lost. The second chapter is Helen meets the poet, meets Keats, and then this is the third chapter.
Real quick, everybody. First off, Kit, hey, welcome and see you in stream. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Manad, yeah, the slight echo is from the fact that the pickups in the Yeti mic, which is a really good mic from the folks over at Blue, the Blue Yeti USB mic, the pickups are so good that they're picking up both Pip and me on the same thing. So we're getting a little bit of an echo there. Christina loved it.
Oh, good.
And right now I am sitting at chapter 6, and I'm keeping an eye on the time. I want to see if I can get out another 300 words, and then we will have to
What
start.
are you thinking? 5?
What? Yeah, 5 at the latest, because
Okay.
I wanted to make sure that we weren't rushed on dinner.
Well, it shouldn't take too long. We're doing ragu tonight.
Yeah, we're keeping it simple and raguing it. Freud,
no, I
thanks-
won't make as much ragu as I did last time, because seriously, it was like 3 nights worth of ragu.
3 nights of ragu. So
I
that
mean,
was
I love
a
ragu,
lot of
but,
ragu.
uh,
That was a lot of ragu. I'm not gonna lie, Chad. A lot of ragu.
Yeah.
Alright, let me just.
This book is going to have a lot of characters. How about yours?
Right now, I don't know. I'm trying to keep it.
Well, if you're doing the mafia, I mean, there's a certain number of people in
Yeah.
the mafia. It's not like a. But if you read any Jane Austen book, there is like a bucket ton of like characters. Not so much main characters, but like side characters with
Right.
named side characters.
Right.
So, I mean, okay. write or die just to push myself. Make sure I get the requisite number of words out here. Great little program if you need the jab.
I'm sorry, what was that, hon?
I'm going to use write or die just to get to
Right.
1,000 words, just so I'm forcing myself.
I don't know if you're familiar with this sketch or not. Hang on 1 minute here. There's a brilliant sketch about that. Yeah, this is it. And
Cardio burn.
And I think, if I remember correctly, I think the guy who is one of the leads in this sketch is the same guy that played Shakespeare in Upstart Crow. Oh, you've seen that one? Are we the baddies? Yeah, I'll throw it. I'll throw it in chat in case you haven't seen it. If no one's ever seen it, but I'm pretty sure that actor is the same actor that he's the same actor that played William Shakespeare in Upstart Crow. I'd have to check that to be sure, but I love that sketch. It's one of my favorite sketches. I don't need that. All right, perfect. And Chad, thank you all for hanging out with us. You are writing with the T-Monster, and or actually, you're writing with Twitch Dad and Twitch Mom. As you can see, this is the writer's life. It's all glam. We're hammering out words, and when we're not hammering out words, we're emptying litter boxes. So, baby, poop is scooped.
Good. I'm doing write or die now.
Yeah,
so.
okay.
Write or die.
She's in the zone. We are working on our, just so you all know, chat, we are working on our works in progress. My wife, as you heard, she just did a reading from her current work in progress, which is a Regent fantasy novel that she's working on. I'm working on a little bit of Mafia, a little bit of elves and orcs moving in for fun, and it's been fun. It's been fun. Mine is called Fear. Hers is called The Wold. Mine is called Fear City, New York. And right now, I'm just enjoying the creative process. This has been really moving along at a good pace for me. So, just doing a little aside research here. Let's see. Just want to see real quick. Just need to check. I just need to check the. Trying to figure out. Here we go. Mafia Commission Trial. There we go. 85 to 96 in 83 recorded several wiretaps. Prison 77 to 85 Skopje script money. All right. So it was an 83. And the trial was 85. So it was an 85, but they recorded them at 83. So that means let's do top hits of 82. Oh my God. Wow. So this is the Hot 100 for... Oh, wait. Oh, wait, these are the... Wait a second. These are the Hot 100 songs of 82. Okay. Right, so this is 82. Trying to think of a good good nightclub name. Let's see. Let me just take a look at famous New York nightclubs. Ooh, I like that. Limelight. Limelight. Of course, Studio 54. And the Palladium. I'm debating about whether or not I want chat to use actual names of clubs. The problem is if I use something like Copacabana or Palladium or Studio 54, that gets it's almost too famous, if that makes sense. And I'm already dancing around with using actual mobsters in this book. So yeah, I'm trying to think of and I could always, you know, later on, like drop in a Studio 54 resonance or that. Oh, wait a minute. about we called it? This is where you can sometimes spend effervescence. I like that. Okay, you win. I like that, Nick. That's a great name for a nightclub. Then I get to ask these questions.
Okay, so reach 1,000 words. Now I just have to look into the different kinds of Regency carriages.
Say what?
To look into Regency carriages. There were different names for these things. You think, oh, they just rode carriages, but there was Phaetons? I'm not even sure how you say it. But what kind would somebody be riding around in on an estate in Georgian England in the rural areas? Just stop that. Okay, let's go. Types of carriage. Where would we do it without Google, right?
Exactly.
Regency England. Boop, boop, boop. A Regency era carriage primer. There we go. Let's see what we've got. I'm going to take the nice thing about using Scrivener is I can take this and I can, rather than bookmark it in my browser, I can put it in my research folder.
That's a good one.
In Scrivener. And so this is types.
So the band was Chic, and the song was Les Freaks.
Now, isn't there something you can't use? You can't use titles like lyrics from.
I should have been busted years ago then, because I know for a fact I used that in some of the.
True, but I think probably if you were in a New York published book, because they'd probably ping you for that.
Well, so far the only published New York book I've got going for me right now is the.
It's the Ministry series.
It's the Ministry series, yeah.
And yes, there's not many mentions of Le Freak.
No.
I have so many things in this. Oh my gosh. Didn't mean to do that.
Okay, if I were to pick, isn't it a 10% rule? Nah, that's really a myth. All that stuff is a myth, Gummy. Basically, your best bet is don't take any chances. You can name songs, but I'm trying to think. Okay, so basically I'm thinking of, all right. All right, so if I were to pick a very iconic disco song. Would it be Bad Girls by Donna Summer, Last Dance? I need at least one Donna Summer in there.
I always think of Bee Gees when I think disco.
Well, I already mentioned Staying Alive, so I'm mentioning 3 songs with like heavy duty disco bass lines. There's Last Dance, Hot Stuff, or Bad Girls. Which one of those 3? I'm trying to think of which one has the better bass line. I mean, Nick is in chat, so if anybody would know, I'd be the bassist. And I can't mention Boogie Wonderland because I'm going to mention Earth, Wind & Fire a little later. I mean, Boogie Wonderland's a great song, but Bad Girls? Nerd Girl says Bad Girls. Nerd Girl suggests Bad Girls.
A barouche. Sorry. You're looking... This is the writer's life. You're talking
Yeah.
about songs, disco songs in the 70s. I'm looking at carriages from the Regency era.
All right.
There's so many...
I mean, I think I've narrowed it down. I think I've narrowed it down, Pip, to what year all this is gonna take place in. It's gotta be taking place around 81, 82, because that was when the commission that was when the FBI started looking into and started recording the mob, and I think that's where I'm going in. But the funny thing is, I'm looking right now at the Hot 100 singles of 82, and here are some. I'm just gonna rattle off the top 10. I'm like, oh my god! All right, so the number 1 song of 82, "Physical" by Olivia Newton-John.
Oh.
Number 2, "Eye of the Tiger," Survivor. Number 3, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, "I Love Rock and Roll." Number 4, Ebony and Ivory, Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder. Number 5, Jay Giles Band, "Centerfold." Number 6, The Human League, "Don't You Want Me." John Cougar had number 7 and number 8 for 82. Jack and Diane, "Hurt So Good." Number 9. Just wait. Number 9 was "Abracadabra" by the Steve Miller Band, and Chicago rounded off number 10 with "Hard to Say I'm Sorry," which I remember that was their big comeback album. Was that big comeback song? Was "Hard to Say I'm Sorry." Y'all be old. Yeah, thank you, Mika. So I will, okay, I gotta finish this.
Well, I think my answer is... Have you got your answer?
What?
Have you got your answer?
Oh, I've got mine. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay,
I'm good.
okay.
I'm good.
I think my answer is... maybe not. Lord. I think it's a gig or a dog cat. Here it is. The barouche was a fancy carriage that you drove around into. Right. The raised box. Right. A dog cat. They literally called it a dog cat. Okay, this is what a dog cat looks like. Images. Dog cat.
Good times, which are the same base as Rappers Delight, but that's not disco as some of the others you mentioned. So let me finish this thought. And I will share with you what you're actually seeing it, but all right, so but I gotta do one more check. I could actually get away with that. Oh shit! I almost forgot. Let's see. Wow. Okay. So that was 80. That was 80. Got it. It's a good day when I can get in a Village People reference.
Don't mind me, cat. Just walk on by. Oh, who knew there were so many different kinds of carriages in Baruch?
The other thing I do love, one thing that's great about being a writer in the late 20th, early 21st century is you have the internet. Because you can look up really oddball, wacky shit like what I'm about to look up. What is the name of the afterlife for orcs? On Orcs and the Afterlife, the unofficial Elder Scrolls. I mean, granted, here's the thing. What I can do is I can just go on ahead and I can just read up a little bit. Just a little bit. And then kind of like, futz with it a little bit.
Take your own.
Yeah, make it my own. I'm just assuming it's got to be something very... Gummy, you have no idea how crazy a writer's search history is. It's a running joke, but it's actually, I'm pretty sure this is a true thing. There are different monitoring and listening stations that go, hey, wait, we just got flagged. These people are looking.
Oh no.
Oh wait, no. You see, right after they say, okay, they want to know how to do a bomb, they want to know how to kill people. Then they're like, okay, what is what are the moon cycles on this date? What's a good name
writers.
generator? It's a writer. Move on. Yeah. See, I had a feeling. Hey, how you doing? Welcome back, Spence. Yeah, for the orcs, revere Malakath, the afterlife promises rewards of immortality, abundant food and drink. So yeah, it's going to be like Valhalla. So it's going to be something like Valhalla. So... Two B's in there. Okay. It's true, Mika.
Okay, I need to change something. Gig. forgetting I have these two great books over here. That it's like, I'm sure I brought a couple of books, and I should look at them first before I go hunting through the internet. One is called What Jane Austen Ate and
Right.
Charles Dickens Knew, and then I've got literally the Jane Austen Handbook, which is proper life skills for Regency England, and hopefully how to become an accomplished lady, how to provide for your daughters and youngest sons, how to get around. There we go. Regency has been written about, it's very popular with the romance crowd, so there's some pretty good books on it.
Right.
It's happened about how to ride side saddle. Not sure if this one's got how to dress, how to buy clothing, how to improve your estate, how to choose a prospective husband, how to marry off your daughter, how to elope to Scotland. There's definitely a bit in here that I need, which is the ball. From fox hunting to whist. This is Regency is before Victorian era, obviously. It's like how to address people, basic etiquette.
All right, let's get back here.
There's a section on being a ball in here.
I think I'm real close to 1,000 words.
Okay, who's James the coach? The gig and the curricle. Okay, this answers my question. For shorter distances in the country, there were two types of vehicles: the gig and the curricle, and the two-wheeled and the wagonette, and the cart and the four-wheel. The gig was a basic two-wheeled, all-purpose, everyday work pleasure vehicle. And the one people drive in Jane Austen when they're not trying to impress anybody. So one horse, two person. So I think I need to change here. I need to start doing some math. You wouldn't have been running it. If you're running around the countryside, you would not be using a... Well, you'd walk short distances, even rich people. And you would not be riding around in a carriage, you would be riding around in a gig. The curricle was sort of like a sports car. I need to go in and change curricle to gig. Maybe I need to watch Emma again. Okay, we're gonna sign off now too.
Yeah, soon. Just give me a second. I just gotta finish this.
It's after 5. And I want to get a quick half an hour of exercise in. our neighbours are getting their Great Dane puppy on Saturday.
That's awesome.
That should be interesting. Especially since they have a Dachshund.
Yeah, I know, right? That's gonna be a change of pace for both of them.
Although I think
For
the
everybody
Dachshunds do
involved.
think they are as big as Great Danes, so it's going to be
That Great Dane, they have no idea what's ahead of them. I've been watching Zach, and it's like that.
How big is what's her name?
Oh, that's too bad. Frankie, you're talking about Z's?
Yeah, Frankie.
Frankie probably comes up to about here now.
Jeez, that seems so quick, but
I know, right?
they grow into those paws very quickly. Oh no! Charge my phone while I was sitting here? Dumb. Not good. Although... No. Phone don't work because no power. It had no... I was literally about to go onto Amazon and try and buy some books on Regency England. I'm like, hold on, didn't I buy some? Actually, I bought a bunch of them over there. There's another couple that I should keep with me. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, you got some good. We got a good library over there.
We have
If I ever get back into pirate fiction, I'm ready. I'm
got
ready.
Pirates and the Victorians well covered over there.
There's also a book over here that's going to be relevant for the second book. It's When the Mob Ruled Vegas. I'm pretty sure it's over there.
We have a big book over there called the King's Handbook of New York City, 1892.
That but that doesn't.
I
do
bought
any
that
good.
for a project that I kind of sputted out a little bit,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it still could be very useful and
Could still be. Could still be.
But I also found out over there I have Our Tempestuous Day, the history of Regency England, which is a bit more about the political side of things rather than like day-to-day life. And then I had this one. I'm not sure if Spence is still around, but a magical folk of the British and English Isles. I also
Ooh.
picked up this one to populate the world with.
What's it called?
It's called Magical Folk.
There you go, Spence. If you're curious, I didn't even know we had this.
I picked this up when I picked up these Regency books.
You seeing that there? Seeing that there, Spence? It's called Magical Folk. There we go.
It's not about us. It's got some great folklore and stuff in there. So these are the books I should really be keeping
Yeah.
on hand when I'm doing this. Just picking my
That's a great word, alacrity. Alacrity. I had to take off my headphones when I heard my name invoked. We'll be looking up that book soon. There you go.
Oh yeah. It's a really I haven't delved in it too much, but it's really got I'll just read you some of the T's tapping away. So some of the chapters there's a section on English fairies, which is fairy queens and Pharisees, pucks and light, pixies and pixie rocks, fairy magic, fairy barrows and the cunning folk, fairy holes and fairy butter. And then it's got Celtic and Norse fairies, which could also end up in the story, but I mostly got it for the English fairies. But the cover art is very pretty too. It's by someone called Simon Young and Siri Holbrook. British and Irish fairies 500 AD to the present. So that's... I should really maybe I should do a little reference. I mean, I haven't done a blog post in so long, but maybe I should do a little reference one and about some of the books that we use. Oh, actually, there's another Regency book over here as well. I just noticed. Oh, Lord. We got some interesting books over here if you look at it. Unsolved London Murders from 1920 to 1930. Lord. There's a book, we've got Harper's Bazaar, which is good for fashions. Confederate submarines and torpedo vessels. This is a good one, Bedlam, which is about the history of the...
Yeah, the one with the submarines, that was when that's when I was exploring the notion of working in the steampunk Rafe Rafton and trying to go into...
Yeah.
I was toying with that idea of somehow doing a crossover from
there's another book over here, maybe that people might also be interested in, and I bought this over from New Zealand. I picked this up, I think, in a library sale. You might want to show them the cover of that one.
Ah, yes. There you are, everybody. There you are.
I was just gonna, maybe I should look and see if they've got a Regency. It's an old book. I'm not sure if you can still
An old book,
find it.
but you know,
It's
they're still getting it on the cover, so there you have it.
I wonder why I picked it up. I just wanted to see. Oh, I think I got this at a used book thing by the look of it. But this is one of the books I brought over from New Zealand because I was like, I doubt whether I'll find it. This is a book from 1980. So, and it's got really good stuff about, and it's not just Eurocentric, it's got stuff about China, India, Islam. I suppose there's a bit here in the area. Ooh, my lord, hello. I haven't looked at this book for a while. Hello. It gives you just an interesting take on history that you don't usually see. But I don't think I'll be needing that straight away. There isn't any sexy times coming up in this book just right now. Although when you go into the forest, who knows, right? This is the Regency years. I love the title of this one, which is during which Jane Austen writes, Napoleon fights, Byron makes love, and Britain becomes modern. It's just, I think this is more... Oh, actually, chapter 3, they have a whole chapter on sexual pastimes, pleasures, and perversities of the Regency period, so... there's a bit here on the Napoleonic War, so that's probably what I was doing that one for. It's always nice when you look over to your bookshelf and you're like, hold on, we've got quite a bit of stuff there going on. You've got a nice big book on Capone. Lots of books on slang. Quite a few murder books. World mythology. I think I brought that one over with me. It's an interesting section. Definitely useful. But I think probably what I'm going to use most is these three books, what Jane Austen, and Dickens knew, the Austen Handbook and the British and Irish Fairies. Although I probably should do a little bit more reading up on the old Bonaparte. I mean, I don't think he's going to feature in this book, but he may well. I mean, if I end up writing a sequel to this book.
So you want to hear my last? Wow, yeah, I got just over 1,000 words. You want to hear what I got here?
Are you going to start from the top, or are you going to give us the end?
This is no. I'm starting from chapter 6.
Okay.
Again, Beck tugs at the sleeves of his coat as he watches the crowd from the balcony of Effervescence. The dance floor not as vibrant as it was when the music thrumming from the speakers sported the disco bass lines of Stayin' Alive, Bad Girls, or Macho Man. But there were a handful of the faithful still managing to flash and flourish their hottest moods to Let's Groove or Physical. He watches the last throes of disco and wishes that it would just let go and embark on its final journey to the forge of Achaman. Disco should have been dead after Can't Stop the Music, but so long as the coke continues to flow and the bass keeps the beat, disco from Gambit's perch high above his club would survive, even if that survival would be an eternal coma. The bass unsettles Gambit the most, but Effervescence caters to the crowd. They love the music that emulates to the orc the sounds of footfalls, of oncoming armed soldiers crossing the battlefield or thundering up a fortress's steps. Memories unearthed by the tribal beats of popular music put him in a place where he had to question why he wanted to run a nightclub. Then he would see the take. His take, even with the tributes he would have to pay Marco Petrelli, keeps him living better than the clan leaders of Hawks View or the kings of the Four Realms. Granted, with his part of the investment, his own take had been considerably less, and now the investment threatens Petrelli's income. While the resolution of that $200,000 puts him in a precarious state in the eyes of those around him, the investment remains sound. But recent current events demand a meeting. Over the eclectic beat of hooked on classics, Gambit perceives footfalls approaching. They are not as heavy as an orc, but far from the almost imperceptible gait of an elf. Who was it? Five Night Freddy? Meathead? Chicken Feet? Ganvik turned to see a human that was considered big for his kind. He could respect Meathead, as he did what he could do to stay relevant in a lifestyle that relied on strength. The Mafia is now dominated by orcs, and even the enchanted elves that focused on their physical prowess as opposed to speed or mental alacrity. What place would there be for humans? Meathead would be the answer. Gambit keeps this human close for his spirit and raw primal approach to combat. If things turn nasty, Meathead would be an ally and a weapon Gambit needs. They're all here, Big G. Meathead speaks into his ear. Good. Keep an eye out. Meathead shrugs. Forget about it. I got your back, boss. Gambit smiles, lightly slapping Meathead's cheek. What do you think?
I pretty much love it. Pretty much love it. We've been watching a lot of YouTube videos about.
Oh my
life.
God. There's a dude, chat, that he is prominently featured in New York, in Fear City, New York versus the Mob, and this guy when he's talking on the documentary, Michael Francesi, you know, and he's like, hey, you know, you're the boss.
He's on every YouTube channel.
But he's on every YouTube channel talking about the validity of certain mob guys and certain mob movies. He was talking about this time where he was watching Goodfellas with his wife, and they're sitting there, and the camera's panning around, mentioning all these different.
And then they go, here's Mikey.
And there's Mikey Francesi, and that's when he said. That's when I went to my wife, said, "Come on, we got to get out of here." But the cool thing, one of the things, and the reason why I got such a laugh out of Pip was that he was like, "Yeah, we always gave each other nicknames. You know, that guy, he lifted a lot of weights, so we called him Meathead. This guy, he always go out in Chinatown and get chicken feet, so we called him Chicken Feet. This guy, you know," and he was talking about
chicken head because
chicken head,
because
he would always shoot the heads off chickens, so we called him Chicken Head. You know, we
call him eggs because
he liked eggs. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, I need to start naming these guys then. And the Five Night Frankie, the Five Night Freddy is a nod to Five Nights at Freddy's, which was at one time Sonny's game of choice. But yeah, and then with this guy Michael Francesi, is it Michael Francesi? Or Michael Francesi?
It's F-R. Hold on, you gotta get this.
It's probably Francesi.
It's F-R-A-N-Z-E-S-E.
Francesi. I'm gonna say it's Francesi. Anyway, so this guy was he was grading the validity of certain mafia movies and mafia things. He hated Sopranos. He said, "Yeah, if a boss was going to a therapist, he'd be dead within a week.
He'd be dead in his trunk.
Yeah, he'd be dead,
and she would be
with him." And I'm just like, okay, you got to go easy on the Sopranos. But he was talking about the film Donnie Brasco, which Pip and I just saw. And there's this whole segment where they're talking about forget about it. And he was like, yeah, that's really true. You know, that's the way we talked. You know, we don't say, hey, how you doing? How's I doing? Hey, forget about it. You know, so yeah, all that was true. And he gave it like 10. And they were rating it based on mob hats. And he gave that scene a 10 out of 10. So I knew I had to start working
Well,
that in here.
Well, we watched Donnie Brasco.
We did watch Donnie Brasco. It's a phenomenal film. It was not what I expected,
Yeah.
but it was a phenomenal film. Funnier still, though, where we saw so many people that we'd seen in Goodfellas, and we saw them in The Sopranos. Oh, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
And Donnie Brasco.
And Donnie Brasco now. But yeah, I think we're done here. So you know what, everybody? Thank you so much for watching. Let me see who's on and see where we can send the love to.
It's always a good day when you can get some words in, right? You feel
Well,
like
we're gonna
you've
try.
earned today.
We're gonna try to be better at doing this, chat,
Yeah.
because we need to start getting more words in.
need to
We
be more
really
productive
need to
this
start
year.
getting more words in.
Forget about it. You gotta
forget
be more.
about it.
You
Forget
gotta
about
be
it.
more productive. Forget about it.
Got to get the words in, you know. And if you're not making your deadlines, yeah, forget about it. Forget about it. You know what? I am so happy to see Kara Lee back on. So we're gonna go raid Kara Lee. All right. So first off, I'm gonna go on ahead and do that, and then I'm gonna send you over to Kara Lee. Kara Lee's pretty awesome. I met her at TwitchCon, and she is one of the nicest people that I could have had the pleasure of seeing and meeting at TwitchCon, and she's a delight, and we're gonna send the love to her. So go on ahead and copy that, spam it, throw it in the chat, and thank you so much, everybody, for all the support you've shown my stream today and shown Pip as we're working through all the ins and outs of being writers. Chances are we'll be back here tomorrow, so I hope to see you then. Until then, thank you, everybody. We're going to go send the love to Kara Lee. Stay safe, especially those of you in Richmond. Take care now, everybody. Peace.
All right.